Go on the phone lines, welcoming in Richard Davenport of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette on a Recruiting Thursday. Richard, as a guy that's done this for quite some time, you think about up north with the Big Ten, out west with the Pac-12. If they don't play, which Kevin Warren reiterated that they're not going to play and they're going to postpone this season, and the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC does, from your perspective, how much is that going to hurt schools in recruiting for the next couple years?
I guess I'm in the minority. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. I really don't, especially if they play in the spring. Kids will see them then. If you're a kid, maybe in the 2021 class, and you're trying to make a decision, you're able to see a team play this fall. That helps if you're going to try to sign, obviously. But I think long term, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Could be totally wrong.
Richard, Hunter Yurchek was on record a couple weeks ago that he doesn't anticipate in-house coming to campus recruiting visits. That still kind of be this dead period type of stuff. Just kind of based on everything that's going on, do you think that we're not going to see on-campus visits till 2021?
Yeah, I've kind of thought that, especially as this pandemic has gone on. I just didn't see any changes to where they would think it'd be okay to bring kids and parents on campus. I just don't see that for several reasons. But excuse me, I've had some kids tell me that some coaches have told them that they don't expect any on-campus visits until there's a vaccine, and I can see that too, unless or if there's a surefire treatment for the virus. So, how long this is going to last, I don't think anybody has any idea as far as the dead period.
Does that help or hurt Arkansas that there is no on-campus visits at Alabama? There's no on-campus visits at Georgia, LSU. Keep going down the list, and does that give Arkansas any kind of maybe edge that, hey, we can just do a better job with the Zoom meetings. We can translate better over and connect better over the calls. I mean, because Arkansas's numbers, recruiting-wise, speak for themselves right now.
No, there's no doubt. They have 18 commitments in the class, and that's very impressive, especially before the start of the season. So, and they've done that with basically – these other schools, Alabama and all the other schools that didn't go through a coaching change, a lot of these seniors-to-be, juniors-to-be, and sophomores-to-be, they visited a lot of these campuses with the current coaching staffs, where Arkansas, that maybe some of the kids have visited Arkansas in the past, but obviously not with Coach Pittman and his staff at Arkansas. So those guys have a little bit bigger advantage than Arkansas, but Arkansas has been able to overcome that in the 21 class and being able to get as many kids on board as they have right now. And also, they got 3 kids that are committed in the 22 class, and I expect that to grow and not too far down the line.
Yeah, been good numbers in state. You had a really interesting piece you wrote earlier this week about Little Rock Parkview and Brad Bolding, who formerly coached at North Little Rock, has now moved to a different school. You think about Little Rock Parkview and you throw that name out, you think about basketball, you think about Charles Ripley, the legendary coach who passed away a couple of months ago. You think about Scotty Thurman. You don't really ever think about Parkview football, but a couple of Razorback commitments out of there. They've got more on the way. What do you think is bringing all of it together at Parkview right now to become a rising football program in the public school side in Central Arkansas?
Well, I think you got to give Brad Bolding a lot of credit to getting kids out of the hallways and onto the field. I mean, that's the biggest part of being able to sell kids on the opportunities that they would have to go to the next level and get a college degree. That's a help. And then obviously the kind of I guess reinvestment into the Little Rock School District that the school district is doing with athletics. That you're seeing that. We talked about that. Superintendent Poore is doing a great job of putting more money into the athletics, and John Daniels, the AD, is doing a super job, and that's also helping the cause of the coaches in the Little Rock School District to be able to get kids to come out, and you're seeing the numbers increase. So, I think it's a combination of both Coach Boding and the administration in the Little Rock School District.
We know about the 221 commitments with Aaron Outley and Landon Rogers. Probably not a lot in our audience may know about the 2022 guys down there, a running back and an offensive lineman at Parkview.
Yeah, James Joyner is the sophomore junior, the 2022 running back for Little Rock Parkview that the previous staff offered, and then Coach Pittman and them re-offered. So he's a guy that has got tremendous speed, but he's been hurt quite a bit, which is pretty amazing considering. He really hasn't seen much of the field, but college coaches have seen enough to extend offers. So he's one to definitely keep an eye on, and hopefully be able to see him go through a full season this fall.
Talking with Richard Davenport here on the Morning Rush. Richard, I don't know if you made it over to Pulaski Academy on Tuesday night. They scrimmaged Bryant. How nice is it to at least it looks like high school football for the most part. Now, this is subject to change, but it looks like it's happening. Just kind of your overall thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, I just hope it continues like I know you guys are thinking, and there's always that possibility of some major breakouts, but I tend to think that, we'll probably start the season. Can we finish? And I just hope we can, because because of the dead period that was enacted back in March 13th, and obviously the spring evaluation period was impacted along with college camps during the summer. A lot of these kids are still trying to get on the radars of colleges, and you just hope that they're able to do that. And there's a lot of schools throughout the country that not playing until the spring. So you just hope that we're able to see a season go all the way through.
Richard, I don't remember if it was you or Scotty Borderlawn who wrote this article, but apparently Sam Pittman reached out to every high school football coach in the state. Now, he said that he wasn't able to get a hold of every single one of them, but how important is that to continue to build relationships within the state itself, that you continue on the Arkansas football tradition within those high schools?
Oh, there's no doubt that makes an impact to coaches. They remember that. And the good thing with Coach Pittman, he obviously, when he was here before, he developed a good relationship with a lot of the coaches and was able to interact with them quite often, and that helped. And obviously, when they visited the campus, they were able to talk to him, get to know him. So he's not a total stranger. And then when you do what you just said, that's huge. I mean, coaches appreciate the respect shown by college coaches. I can tell you stories where college coaches have not done such a good job and really kind of PO'd some of the high school coaches, and that obviously you don't want to do that when you're trying to recruit one of their kids.
Yeah. You mentioned about high school football. Pointed out to me on Twitter earlier this morning that Clarksville High School has suspended all levels of football there because of a positive test with the players. So I'm hoping that doesn't become a trend or a growing headline with high school football, but we've seen it, at least that one. There may be others that I'm not aware of, but saw that on Twitter last night. I think Channel 5's also ran a story on it as well. But that's probably, unfortunately, going to be more and more of a story moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's just you just hope you can kind of minimize the outbreak and try to get playing again. But at the same time, you're not, you hope that all the schools are being upfront and reporting instances like that. But it sounds like that sounds like the schools are doing a pretty good job of not having breakouts or having kids test positive. So if you just hear of a few, that's not as alarming. But if you hear numerous throughout the state and in all regions, that's when you really get concerned.
I should also mention Fountain Lake at Hot Springs canceled their Week 0 game too. So because Fountain Lake's coaching staff had a high level of infection, so there are some hot spots going on out there.
Richard, got a couple questions in here from listeners. This comes from JT in Hot Springs. Do you think there's going to be a lot of misses in recruiting because of everything that's happened?
Definitely, especially when you haven't been able to evaluate. And this is for football and basketball. In basketball, because of spring basketball and summer basketball not being played, and college coaches not being able to see the kids in person is huge. Obviously, there's still some basketball going on right now, but you're basically just watching video, which is better than nothing of the games, but it's not you can't replace in-person evaluation. So there's definitely going to be more misses in basketball. There's going to be more misses in football because of that the coaches weren't able to go out through the spring evaluation period and also not have summer camps. And I'm sure that so some of the colleges have extended offers that they may not be as sure of versus if they had an in-person evaluation. But it's going to happen. There's no way of getting around it.
Richard, this comes from General Ben in Saline County. He's asking, losing this football season, if Arkansas was going to have a dreadful season ahead, what would that do for recruiting more moving forward on the football side of things?
Well, the main thing is just see some progress, and I think we will see some progress. You look at this insane schedule. I don't think anybody has any expectations of having a great season or anything like that. Or even going 5-5 would be absolutely just monster, just huge. But as long as you're competitive and you see improvement, I think that's the key. The kids want to see, parents want to see, and I think they will see, because I think last year, I've said the last couple of years that I didn't think the talent was 2-10 talent. I'm not saying it was 7-5 or 9-3 talent, but it wasn't 2-10 talent. And I think with the coaching staff that you have right now, you're going to see quite a bit of improvement. I'll be very disappointed if we don't see that.
Richard, another question that we've kind of tossed around this morning is speaking to Treylon Burks. Now, whether it's Justin Stepp, who's really high on this kid, I know you got a chance to watch him at Warren. There's a lot of Warren people, Jarius Wright, Greg Childs, Chris Gregg. I mean, these are guys that really are high on this kid. Just from watching him at high school, watching his first year as a freshman, what could Treylon Burks be at Arkansas?
He could be one of the best that's ever played there. There's no doubt about it at the receiver position. You saw flashes last year. You see a guy that the game was not too big for him. I mean, he felt like he looked like a guy that looked like he belonged, even as a freshman. And he had the confidence. He wasn't intimidated by anything. And you just saw a guy that had special talent. And he's going to obviously progress over the next few years. And I think I'd be surprised if he's not one of the best when he leaves Arkansas. And the first time I saw him play in high school, I think the first catch or second catch, I was like, okay, I mean, he's different. I mean, it was just, and it's easy. I mean, when you see guys that are high D1, you can just look at their film the first few plays or see them in person the first few plays, and you know that they're that caliber.
Richard,
and he was definitely that.
You remember that scene in The Blind Side where like Fulmer and all those like fake assistant coaching actors like, hey, can we see a drill? And then Michael Orr, who's played, I'm forgetting the actor that plays him, just runs over that line. He's like, all right, we see all we need to see. Tell him he's got a scholarship. I'm assuming you were kind of in that same camp, and the Arkansas coaches were in the same camp. They looked at the film for 2 minutes like, oh, this guy's going to get a scholarship.
Oh, without a doubt. Just the way the way he moved, the way he caught the ball, his acceleration, just he just was totally different from everybody else on the field. And another thing, I just love the way he catches punts. It just blows me away how he just snatches the ball out of the air. It doesn't cradle it in his arms or anything like that. That is so unique, and I love it.
Yeah. Hey, before we let you go, your reaction to the news that Isaiah Joe was going to go ahead and opt out at Arkansas and enter the NBA draft. He let everybody know on Monday. What was your reaction when you saw the news?
Well, I said all along I expected him to come back. I really did. But the longer it went on, as far as his initial decision to stay, I started changing my tune. And so I wasn't totally surprised by his decision, but I didn't. I'm not going to say I expected it. I thought that he was going to stay, but at the same time, he obviously reconsidered, and he had to do what he thinks is best. And I think he'll obviously play a professional ball for quite some time. I just hope it's definitely in the NBA because I know that's what he wants.
Richard Davenport of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, the recruiting guru, the recruiting savant. Richard, as always, man, we appreciate you joining us on a Recruiting Thursday.
All right, buddy. We'll see you. See you guys.
Absolutely,
Thanks, Richard.
man. Always good to hear from Richard when it comes to that.